Legislative history often offers insight into a statute's intended meaning and purpose. Consequently, if a statute is ambiguous, it's common for a court to turn to legislative history for guidance. But in Train versus Colorado Public Interest Research Group, we explore whether a court can consider legislative history if a statute appears unambiguous. The Atomic Energy Act, enacted in 1946, charged the Atomic Energy Commission with regulating certain radioactive materials, namely source, byproduct, and special nuclear materials. Pursuant to its regulatory authority, the Commission established limits on the discharge of such materials into the environment, including into waterways. The subsequently enacted Federal Water Pollution Control Act, which we'll refer to as the Water Act, charged the Environmental Protection Agency, or EPA, with developing a permit system regulating the discharge of pollutants into the nation's waterways. The Act's definition of pollutants expressly included radioactive materials. But when developing the permit program, the EPA's administrator, Russell Train, declined to adopt permit regulations for radioactive materials already regulated under the Atomic Energy Act. Various Colorado residents and Colorado-based organizations, such as the Colorado Public Interest Research Group, were concerned about the discharge of radioactive materials by 2 Colorado nuclear plants. Although the plants complied with the Atomic Energy Commission's discharge limits, the residents and organizations felt those limits weren't stringent enough. They filed suit against the EPA and Train, seeking a declaration that the term pollutants in the Water Act included all radioactive materials, and the EPA was therefore required to adopt its own regulations for the discharge of source, byproduct, and special nuclear materials into waterways. In response, Train argued that the Water Act's legislative history showed that it didn't apply to radioactive materials governed by the Atomic Energy Act. Both sides filed motions for summary judgment. The district court held that the Water Act didn't apply to radioactive materials regulated under the Atomic Energy Act. But the 10th Circuit reversed, holding that the Water Act's plain text required the EPA to regulate the discharge of all radioactive materials. The United States Supreme Court granted cert.